Hi boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can find your math assignment for lesson 0201. We're going to go ahead and go into your math course. You're going to scroll down and you're going to open up module 2's folder. You're going to go to 0201, rounding the results. You're going to open up the blank page icon, which is the lesson. This is a 5-page lesson. You're going to want to make sure you go through all 5 pages of the lesson, going through all of the practice activities to prepare you for your assignment. Your assignment can be found on page 5 of the lesson under What is my assignment? And your assignment for 0201, rounding the decimals, is a worksheet assignment. You'll open that up, and this is a 1-page assignment with 10 questions. And all of these questions revolve around rounding. So what I like to do is I like to screenshot a couple of the problems and do them as models for you. And then you'll have the rest of the worksheet to do. So I'm going to go ahead and model number 1, and then I'll model number 3. So number 1, it says circle all the numbers that round to 5 and 6/10 when rounded to the nearest tenth. So we're going to look at all of these numbers in our list, and we're going to look at which numbers would round to 5.6 or 5 and 6/10 when rounded to the nearest tenth. So looking at all these numbers, we're going to look at our tenths value and determine if the numbers can be rounded to 5.6. So the first number is 5 and 57 hundredths. We're going to look at our tenth value, which is 5. We look at the number to the right, which is 7. The 7 tells the 5 to round up. Remember the rule, 5 or higher, you round up. 4 below, it stays the same. So 5.7, the 5 in the tenths spot is what we're looking at. We look at the number to the right. The 7 tells our 5 to round up. The 5 in the tenths spot would round up to 6. So yes, 5 and 57 hundredths, when rounded to the nearest tenth, would round to 5 and 6/10. So we would circle that number. Let's look at our next number, 5 and 54 hundredths. Again, let me do a different color here. We're looking at our tenths, which is the 5. We look at our number to the right, which is a 4. The rule is 4 below, the number stays the same. So that 5 in the tenth spot that we've underlined is going to stay the same. So 5 and 54 hundredths would not round to 5 and 6/10 when rounded to the nearest tenth. Let's look at our next number, 5 and 62 hundredths. We're looking at the 6, which is in the tenth spot. Notice we're looking at each digit in the tenth spot. That's because we're rounding to the nearest tenth. We're looking at the 6, so we take a look at the number to the right. It's a 2. The rule, 4 below, the number stays the same. So the 6 would stay the same. The 2 would cancel out. And so we're left with 5 and 6/10, which is what we're trying to round to. So that 5 and 62 hundredths would round to 5 and 6/10. Okay, again, we're looking in the tenth spot. So we look at the number to the right, 6, 5 or higher, you round up. 6 is going to tell that 6 in the tenth spot to round up. So that would 5 and 66 hundredths would not round to 5 and 6/10. This number already is too big. It's starting with 6, so that wouldn't even matter. So that one's automatically out. 5 and 59 hundredths, again, we're looking at the tenths. Look at the number to the right, it's a 9. 5 or higher, the number rounds up. So that 5 would round to a 6. The 5 in the tenth spot would round to a 6, so it would be 5 and 6/10. So we would circle it. And our last one, 5 and 51 hundredths, we're looking at our tenths, which is a 5. Look at the digit to the right, it's a 1. 4 below, the number stays the same. So the 5 in the tenth spot that we've underlined would stay the same. It would not round up. So we've got three numbers that when rounding to the nearest tenth would be 5 and 6/10. You're going to do the same thing for number 2, but you're circling all the numbers that round to 2 and 35/100ths when rounding to the nearest hundredth. So we're looking at all of these numbers that are in the hundredths spot. So you're going to need to know your place value, which was covered in Module 1. All right, next we're going to take a look at numbers 3 and 7. So I'm just going to screenshot those. All right, so for number 3 through 6, you are rounding to the nearest tenth. So you have to first find which digit is in your tenths value spot. In this case, it's the 6. Okay, then you're going to look at the number to the right. Same rule, 5 or higher, the number rounds up. 4 below, it stays the same. The 7 tells the 6 to round up. So your new number would be 0 and 7/10. You're going to do that for 4, 5, and 6. And then 7 through 10, you're rounding to the nearest hundredth. So you're going to find your digit that's in the hundredth value. In this case, it's a 4. You're going to look at the number to the right. 5 or higher, the number rounds up. 4 below, it stays the same. So this 4 is going to stay the same. So it would be 3 and 74/100ths. Okay? All right, so that's what you're doing for this worksheet. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. When you are done completing this worksheet, you're going to go back to Buzz. You're going to go to the next activity tab, which is this arrow in the top left-hand corner, pointing to the right. That's going to take you to the submissions page for 0201. You're going to click on the blue plus button and attach your work. Let me know if you have any questions.